They once worked together a long time ago. They're not friends now. They don't like each other. And yeah, 50 has taken every shot, especially when Diddy has been down.
That's somewhat like a blackmail. He was blackmailing people to be in the freak-offs. So that's federal. That could be that's a federal charge. He can't blackmail people to say, yo, listen here, you did it once and you're gonna do it again. That ain't gonna make it with the government or nobody.
They used to be photographed clinking glasses over billion-dollar deals, standing side by side like kings of modern hip-hop. But now rumors are flying that Jay-Z didn't just turn his back on Diddy. He might have been the one who cut the cord himself. After the release of 50 Cent's explosive Netflix documentary Sean Combs' The Reckoning, insiders are whispering that Jay made a quiet but sharp move. Not just to distance himself from a collapsing empire, but to shield his own fortune and name from going up in flames. Word on the street says Jay might have slipped 50 Cent some key info, just enough to keep his name far away from the wreckage. Diddy, now behind bars and facing a mountain of lawsuits and possibly years locked up, is reportedly losing it. Because if anyone knows where the bodies are buried, metaphorically or maybe not so metaphorically, it's Sean Carter himself.
There's a lot of people, 50, I feel like he don't have to say nothing, but 50's crazy. He's been like this his whole life. When he's on the block, oh, 50's coming.
The idea that Jay-Z could be secretly cooperating with 50 Cent might have sounded wild months ago, but then came that clip. Just days before the documentary dropped on December 2nd, 50 posted a viral video showing Jay-Z's face deep-faked onto Lionel Richie in an old UR music video, captioned, "This the message Jay-Z sent me when he realized he's not in the Diddy doc." It looked like a joke, but it hit deep. Because why wasn't Jay-Z in the doc? Their history runs decades deep. These two shared stages, performed together, hit charity events, and even bragged about building generational wealth side by side. You don't just forget to include a name like Jay-Z, not unless that name made sure it wasn't there. That's when the whisper campaigns exploded. People started asking how, in a doc loaded with insiders, survivors, investigators, and footage allegedly leaked from Diddy's own vault, Jay-Z's name never popped up once. His absence isn't coincidence, it's calculation. Industry insiders claim Jay offered quiet cooperation. Nothing on camera, nothing official, but just enough to stay clear of any splashback. And when you really think about the stakes, it all adds up.
I think that they don't want, if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make a...
Jay-Z isn't just a rapper anymore, he's a brand. We're talking streaming platforms, sports franchises, luxury partnerships with giants like the NFL and LVMH. A scandal like this could vaporize hundreds of millions overnight. It's no wonder he wanted a clean break before things blew up. Back in 2024, Jay was even pulled into a brutal civil lawsuit from a Jane Doe who accused both Diddy and an unnamed male celebrity of assault at a party in 2000. Later, her amended filing named Jay-Z directly. He denied everything, calling it an extortion attempt, and vowed to fight it out in court. The case was eventually dropped, but the timing raised eyebrows. Just months after that lawsuit quietly disappeared, The Reckoning dropped, and Jay was nowhere in sight. What's happening looks like a full-on strategic erasure, a clean escape from a burning ship. Because if even half the footage and allegations in The Reckoning are true, Jay had every reason to jump before it all collapsed. And unlike Diddy, who's facing accusations from wild private encounters at freak-off parties to hidden surveillance tapes, Jay's darker rumors have stayed quiet, maybe on purpose.
So what happens now is this is simply a civil complaint. And in a civil complaint, it goes through the technical legal process. Now, the distinction, Jessica, between civil and criminal, of course, is that civil is for monetary damages, right? The system can only reward you with money. There's allegations that this 13-year-old is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, suffered depression, etc. So now you go to fact.
Sources who spoke off the record claim Jay's team has been scrubbing everything. Digital traces, connections to certain events, certain flights, even old photos. If that's true, this isn't just damage control, it's witness strategy. Their friendship has already shown cracks. Let's rewind to 1999. Jay-Z got charged with assault after a stabbing in a Manhattan club, while Diddy got caught up in a nightclub shooting that same year where his artist Shine took the blame. Both men walked away free, but their shared past has always been messy and dangerous. They moved in the same high-powered, secretive circles, signing NDAs, hitting the same parties, staying silent about what really went down. So when lawsuits started piling up against Diddy, with allegations of hidden cameras, trafficking operations, and vaults full of compromising videos, the biggest question became, who else knew? And come on, there's no way Jay didn't know. They weren't just business associates, they were brothers in luxury. From Roc Nation brunches to that legendary 2020 billionaire toast, they flaunted unity like royalty. But now, that same bond could be why Jay is moving like a man cutting the last rope. If Diddy's empire goes down in flames and Jay's name stays spotless, somebody cleared that path. And 50 Cent, he's no fool. He's been trolling both men for years, and this time it feels personal. His mockery isn't just for clout, it's a warning shot. By calling out Jay's silence, 50's hinting that maybe it's not silence at all. Maybe it's strategy. Maybe cooperation already happened. And for Diddy, sitting locked up in New Jersey's Fort Dix federal facility, that realization must be cold as ice. Jay-Z's biggest threat might not be the man producing the documentary. It might be the one who made sure it could even exist. Now, the question isn't just if Jay gave information, it's what exactly he handed over. Because if he dropped details, dates, names, flight lists, just enough to erase himself from the story, then he's not some innocent bystander. He's an architect in disguise, a silent operator playing a long game while pretending to be distant, and that kind of power is dangerous. The type that doesn't rant, doesn't post online, doesn't sue, just moves smart while someone else takes the hit.
I think they more so, they don't want him to embarrass their reputation and things that they've been known for. You understand? I think that
the documentary laid out everything: timelines, behind-the-scenes footage, even alleged hidden surveillance clips filmed without anyone's consent. So if Jay ever showed up in those raw files and suddenly vanished from the final cut, people are right to ask serious questions. Who had control over the edit? Who controlled access to unreleased material? And why was Jay's own legal team, according to an entertainment attorney who's seen the paperwork, monitoring the documentary's production months before the public even knew Netflix was involved? Meanwhile, Diddy's legal camp is throwing wild accusations everywhere, saying the footage was stolen, blasting Netflix for corporate betrayal, threatening lawsuits like it's a sport. But the louder Diddy yells, the quieter Jay gets. Not a post, not a statement, not a single ounce of support. That's not indifference, that's insulation. And it goes even deeper.
A claim that somebody held a knife to his throat. He woke up and this guy basically had him and he had the knife, and Diddy was at this person's mercy. Now, it's unclear what exactly happened from there. Was there a guard that came in? Did Diddy somehow fight this person off? Well, it seems unlikely that happened. Or did the person just leave? Bottom line, this guy, at least according to people close to Diddy and Diddy himself, could have hurt him badly or even taken his life.
A former security associate who once worked for both men in the early 2000s claims there were private disputes, threats, recordings, even an alleged moment when a go bag was quietly moved from one mansion to another right before a federal raid. If true, it means Jay might have started distancing himself long before the public fallout. What we're seeing might not just be a friendship collapsing. It could be a high-stakes chess game where one player sacrificed the other to protect the board. If Jay did cooperate with 50 Cent, or even allowed certain details to surface, then Diddy's not the only one who should be nervous. Because the next big question becomes, what else would Jay be willing to give up? If this so-called betrayal was tactical, not about loyalty but leverage, then what's he really protecting? What secrets are buried so deep that Diddy's silence or even his imprisonment might be the safest outcome for Jay? Let's go back to the lawsuit that should have made global headlines but barely got a whisper. The 2000 house party allegation. At first, the filing named Diddy, but later the amended version dropped a shocker. Jay-Z was allegedly in that same room. The woman, who was underage at the time, claimed she blacked out after being given a drink and woke up in a situation no one should ever face. Jay denied everything. Diddy did too. And soon after, the whole case disappeared without a trace. No trial, no resolution, just silence. But that stain doesn't just fade, it lingers. And the timing? It's way too precise to ignore. Not long after Jay's name was added to that lawsuit, the Netflix documentary ramped up production. Editors started cutting, footage got shuffled, and by the time it dropped, Diddy was front and center, surrounded by survivors, former employees, and federal investigators. But Jay, nowhere. Not a single mention, not even a casual reference in the doc's 4-part structure. That kind of omission isn't accidental. It's surgical. So what if Jay didn't just dodge the bullet? What if he aimed it? Insiders who claim to have seen early drafts of the documentary say there were at least 2 key stories involving a major music figure who demanded to be cut out before release. No confirmed names, but come on, the coincidence is screaming. Jay didn't just back away from Diddy, he erased himself from the narrative completely. Which raises a chilling question. Was he removing a liability before it could turn into exposure? And let's not forget what's on the line. Jay-Z's image isn't just built on platinum albums, it's built on a billion-dollar persona. His marriage to Beyonce, his sports ventures, his luxury brand deals, everything rides on one thing: control. Even one credible scandal could wreck decades of calculated image building. And there's one thing that could destroy it all instantly: Diddy's private footage vault. Now let's talk about those tapes.
Blistering statement. Jay-Z accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away."
Multiple lawsuits, including one filed by producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones, accused Diddy of installing hidden cameras throughout his homes in LA and Miami, and even possibly on his private jets. These weren't standard security setups. The claim says he recorded everything: private encounters, celebrity meetings, secret conversations, all filmed without consent. Allegedly, Diddy was obsessed with documentation, building a personal archive of every high-profile guest who ever stepped into his world. If Jay-Z ever showed up on those tapes, that footage would be priceless, best friend. Or poisonous. It could serve as blackmail, leverage, or both. According to Jones's lawsuit, some recordings captured famous figures caught in illegal or compromising situations without their knowledge. That's already explosive, but if Jay's lawyers even suspected his name was linked to one of those clips, you can bet they didn't go public. They went private. Silent calls, quiet deals, and maybe a few discreet conversations with people holding editing power. And don't forget, Diddy's homes were raided in March 2024. Homeland Security agents hit both his LA and Miami estates, seizing devices, hard drives, and physical media said to contain those private videos. The public still doesn't know what was found, but someone definitely does. And that someone could very well be Jay-Z. His total silence through all this chaos isn't just calm, it's control. It's the silence of someone who already knows the ending. Jay hasn't made a single public comment about the documentary. No denials, no defense, no attacks, not even a no comment. He just stayed quiet while the world exploded around him. That's not apathy, that's strategy. And here's the kicker. When you line up the timeline, it all clicks. Right around the time the doc was being finalized, Jay's team quietly started filing new business registrations, none related to music. We're talking tech startups and data privacy, content moderation, even artificial intelligence for voice authentication. The same kind of tech you'd use to control your image and secure your voice. Coincidence? Maybe. But in this world, nothing that quiet is ever random. That's one wild shift in business direction for someone whose empire has always revolved around music, sports, and global branding. Unless, of course, those new ventures are part of a master plan, a way to protect, rewrite, or even erase the past before anyone else can use it against him. And let's not forget, while Jay-Z moves in silence, Diddy's sitting in a cell right now. Diddy isn't just losing cash, he's losing time. 4 years in federal prison after being convicted under the Mann Act for transporting individuals for illegal encounters. The bigger charges didn't stick, but the message was loud and clear. His empire's crumbling, his money's bleeding, and if he decides to go down swinging, he might not go alone.
Is he going to turn people in? Is he going to cooperate? If the federal government wants him to cooperate and they're going to cut his time, because right now he's looking at 15 to life. With all the charges he had to, he won't get out till 70 years old. He's about 70. That's when they start talking about letting him come to a halfway house.
That's where the real danger kicks in. Diddy's got nothing left to lose. He's drowning in civil lawsuits, under investigation from multiple jurisdictions, and surrounded by people flipping sides fast. If he finds out his old friend, his brother, not only abandoned him but maybe helped orchestrate this collapse, he could explode. He might open the vaults, flip the script, and torch every bridge in sight. So is Jay-Z just betting on silence, or gambling that Diddy won't strike back? Maybe that's why Diddy's legal team is suddenly on the offensive, firing off cease and desist letters at Netflix, threatening lawsuits over stolen footage, and blasting 50 Cent for personal vendettas. But behind all that courtroom smoke, there's a whisper running through the entertainment legal world. Diddy knows who betrayed him. And if Jay ever appeared on any of those tapes, whether he was a participant or just standing in the background, those recordings could become Diddy's ultimate weapon. That's the most dangerous angle of all. What if Jay wasn't the only one hiding something? What if their bond wasn't built on respect but mutual risk? Imagine it. Two powerhouses tied together by silence and shared secrets. Private flights, off-the-grid parties, unwritten pacts, all built on one rule: never expose the other. If that's true, Jay's silence isn't distance, it's survival. Because if Diddy decides to open those vaults, it won't just be his empire in ruins. It could pull down giants with him. Flashback to that 2020 Rock Nation brunch. Diddy raised his glass and said, "We're here together, united we stand."
And he was asking about her, and then he was asking me stuff like, would you be interested in, like, somebody watching? He was just asking some really, really bugged out questions. And I still have those emails. I still have all that, So, like, that's one of the things that I was going to include in the book. I'm just trying to figure out.
Jay nodded right beside him. It wasn't just a toast to success. It was a public oath of alliance. But alliances only last when the power balance holds steady. Now, Diddy's behind bars, Jay's free, one man's being erased. And the other, he's rewriting history right in front of us. And that's the twist no one saw coming. If Jay really did help shape the narrative, if he cut his own trail, deleted his past, and walked away spotless, then what else has he done behind the curtain to stay ahead of the fire? Are more stories being buried, more voices being silenced, more connections quietly dissolved? We've seen it before, powerful figures building their kingdoms on secrets, then vanishing when the storm hits. But this time, the empire didn't disappear. It shifted hands. The silence might not just be strategy. It might be the loudest confession of all. But here's the thing. Jay-Z isn't the only one keeping quiet. Behind the scenes, a wave of panic is spreading through the outer circles of fame. Those almost famous names who once floated in Diddy's orbit are suddenly terrified. Former reality stars, faded musicians, influencers, and boutique label execs, people who used to flood red carpets and rooftop parties, have gone dark. Deleted posts, vanished photos, wiped event tags, even new phone numbers. Some are already lawyering up fast, afraid that if Diddy and Jay's feud turns nuclear, they'll get hit in the blast zone. And these aren't random guests or background party extras. Court filings and insider leaks suggest some of them helped run the operations. They booked luxury rentals, arranged travel, managed NDAS, and even handled entertainment for those notorious gatherings. If the full content of Diddy's alleged surveillance archives ever leaks, it's not just A-listers who need to panic. The fear isn't about losing followers or brand deals, it's about real consequences.
Weirdo. Don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me.
Because for some of these smaller names, the paper trail shows they weren't just bystanders, they were facilitators, maybe even willing participants in setups that could now bring criminal heat. And reputationally, it's a disaster waiting to happen. A few of these faces still have fan bases, lifestyle podcasts, wellness brands, or empowerment partnerships. But if footage or testimony links them to anything described in federal filings as exploitation or coercion, those careers could go up in smoke instantly. That's why entertainment lawyers are calling this the most unpredictable chapter of the Diddy saga. Because once one domino falls, nobody knows how far the collapse will go. So here's the question echoing through every corner of the industry. Did Jay-Z sacrifice his closest ally to save his legacy? Or to bury something darker? What would you do if the past you thought you erased suddenly had a camera rolling? Let us know what you think. Was it betrayal or survival? Because in this world, nothing, absolutely nothing, happens by accident.